Football did a thing for this town that, you know, on Friday nights, like, people live for it.
When the game's on the line, it's real easy when you got Jarvis Landry.
I was on the phone with Odell, then he came back on the line like, man, I'm going to New York. I was like, man, it's done, man. We did it. When I cut back across the field, all I was thinking about was, this is my moment right here. It's been a minute since we've been up here, man.
The youth, they don't understand these days, man, how the levee made us great football players.
I was just talking about how you used to have the lawnmower and cut like a patch of grass out the levee and trained on the levee.
It helped me with my speed and everything, even though when I went to college.
You've been slow though.
I still was, you know. I wasn't doing the right things, you know, but I ain't had nobody to, you know, tell me the right drills to do, you know, so you know, I was on there trying to get it on my own, you know.
No, for sure. This is Jarvis Landry with the Miami Dolphins, and welcome to my neighborhood. This is Gerard Christopher Landry. Me and my brother used to come up here, throw. We've even ran together on the levee when he was in college and I was in high school.
I know he was watching me, so like, this is what it takes, you know. If you want to play on the next level, this is what you got to do, and I mean, it paid off.
The most important thing, you know, I learned from my brother about playing a position is, you know, that it's a collective group of skills. You know, I can remember sitting in that house and he playing in lecture. In 2003, he won a state championship. And I can remember going back and just watching every game from that season and just studying him, trying to be like him, walking like him, talking like him, just having that attitude, having that mentality, you know, that when the ball is up, it's mine and nobody else's. And just being a dog, that's what we say, you know, just bring that dog out. So this is St. James Parish. Right now, we're pretty much in the central area of Convent, Louisiana. We swim in the Mississippi, we ran the levee, and we picked sugarcane and ate sugarcane, you know, and it's just something that's so unique to this town. And
yeah, I mean, we got pecan trees, so basically what we did, we'll take the pillow sack off the bed, you know, and basically put the pecans in a pillow sack, and the pecan man will come once a week, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, you know, and we'll sell the pecans, and we'll use a little change from the pecan to get freezy.
A freezy is basically, I guess people know it as a frozen cup. Pretty much a whole lot of Kool-Aid and a whole lot of sugar. We've been working all our lives, you know, finding ways to make money to help out, you know, and pecans were one of the ways to do it. This is the house I grew up in. This has been my family's land for generations. My grandmother refused to leave, and my mom refused to leave my grandmother, so I guess we all just stuck here, so. Who in here?
Me.
Hey there.
Hey.
Ooh.
Come on. Yeah, no.
I come from a football family. My brother did it, and you know, I wanted to be like him. So when I got to about 12 and 13, I started playing Pee Wee football.
Him and Gerard would always have this competition, but I'm gonna always be better than you.
It was inspiring because that became the standard. So by him making it to, you know, that training camp pushed me to at least aspire to be in the NFL. When I first got the opportunity to leave the house, I mean, I guess as any 18-year-old was excited. Like, finally, you know, but not having the presence of my mom, you know, being a mama's boy, you know, not having the presence of my grandmother, you know, it's something I knew was going to be hard for me. As I kind of began to grow a little bit and mature more as a man, the transition became to smooth out a little bit. After pulling my hamstring at the combine, I didn't want to go to the draft. I wanted to spend the time with my family. But then coming back at Pro Day and, you know, running a good time, I felt pretty good about it. We got a suite at the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge. My agent was like, you know, it's a possibility you get drafted in the first round between 16 and 32. You know, we sat there and waited it out. 16, 17, 18, 19, you know, on and on and on and on. I was on the phone with Odell, and he had 2 phones. So his other phone went off, and he answered, and then he came back on the line like, man, I'm going to New York. The whole room that we were watching the draft in erupts. You know, everybody's excited for him, of course, because he's basically family. The first day was up, and I was just so disappointed. You know, literally cried my eyes out that night. And he flies back just to come and support me. Day 2 comes by, and pick 34, 35. 36, 37. I'm looking at my agent like what's going on? And pick 60 comes. And then I get a call from Florida. And I'm thinking, all right, there's 3 teams in Florida, right? And it's one of the guys that I train with. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You know, like what's going on, you know? And so I hang up, and 61 comes, and I get another call from Florida. And it's Miami. And they're like, congratulations, you know, you're a Miami Dolphin. We're gonna take you at the 63rd pick.
We cried so much to the people were saying, like, we thought we was at Jarvis Landry funeral. Everybody was just, it was just a moment that I remember every day that I wake up.
And it was an emotional roller coaster for sure. To talk about the catch, that day we were down, we needed a play, and somehow, some way, faced with those odds, something crazy always happens with me. I don't know. All right, Mom, love you.
Love you too.
Hi, baby. This place here, Emails, the best fried chicken ever. We used to go there like 3-4 times a week. That Houston game was one of the turning points of my career, I believe. I remember seeing Antonio Brown, you know, stop on the sideline, reverse field, and house it. I can remember, you know, Odell doing it in college. When I cut back across the field, that was kind of like, this is my moment right here. You know, this is my moment. This is Letcher High School, home of a couple state championships. My brother in 03. Myself in 06, myself again in 08, and my little brother this past year in 2015. So, you know, it's definitely a place of history, definitely a winning tradition, definitely a part of what I do now. I'll let Coach Jenkins and a couple other coaches tell you a little bit more about that. Coach Jenkins was the quarterback coach, OC, for as long as I can remember, new head coach of the Letcher Bulldogs. Coach Tim Detillier has been the head coach for as long as I can remember, man, winning state championships, every last one of them, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And lastly, but not least, Coach Zerang. Coach Zerang was defensive coordinator.
A little known fact that Jarvis was the defensive MVP of the River Parish his senior year, not the offensive MVP. Driven the ball down the field, a good ways to get in a spot to be able to have a chance. And this was the second one that year that we won in the last couple seconds of the game, because we won the
Vanderbilt on the last play of the game.
And it was not the same play, but a similar play, same quarterback. Jarvis made the same type of catch, but that was a little more of a drive in like 40 seconds. But this one was to win the district championship, basically.
There you go.
I missed practice like 3 days that week.
You missed practice, and then you had a little altercation in a film room with Coach Lee.
Yeah.
And we sat you the first half. I remember sitting down with you, asking you if you learned your lesson.
Yeah, at the end,
at
right
the end
there,
of the game in the meeting room, asking if I was gonna have to deal with this anymore the rest of the year.
I remember that night. I remember that night.
I just think back of all of those times when he called me 15 minutes before workouts because he didn't have a ride, and all of those trips that the coaches made to get him to practice, to make sure that he had a chance to have this opportunity, and to see the person that he's grown up to be and the type of guy that he is and the man that he's become. It gives you the encouragement to keep doing it for other kids, because you never know which one's going to be that one that needs it the most or which one's going to make it. It definitely makes this job and working in this community worth it.
When you have men like this that represent something that you believe solely in, you know, you trust them. Yeah, I might have been, I think at times, you know, I was a little hard-headed than, you know, they wanted to deal with at the time. But, you know, I also think at the same time, you know, it was their persistence. Whether I was here, LSU, Miami, they've always been there. Being here and listening to them talk and bring up these stories, man, it makes me want to just get emotional, you know, because it was key moments in every story that really played a role in who I became, the player I became, the man I became, and maybe someday, probably, I hope, the father I become, you know, or the coach, you know, that I become.
Amen.
This is the locker room. Every day we touch this sign. The leaders, the captains, and the team, they'll decide what goes on the board, and you know that's basically our motto for the season. Some of our greatest Friday nights started, man, in this building right here, in this room. This is my old locker right here. My little brother wears number 80. This is where we met when we learned our plays. And on this side, we did the defensive meetings. And on this side, we did the offensive meetings. We'll huddle right here, a couple chants, a prayer. And before we took the field, we always touched this bar. You know, that was just kind of our commitment. That's my little brother. What's up? What are you doing? This is Gregory Clayton, my little brother who won the state championship this past year, 2018 prospect. Literally, I remember being in high school and he attached to my hip. Everywhere I go, everywhere I went, he literally followed me. Like, I had to tell him, like, get away from me, like leave me alone, you know? But, you know, it's paid off and, you know, it looks like he's gonna grow to be taller than I am and hopefully better than I am, but we'll see. Football did a thing for this town that, you know, on Friday nights, like, people live for it. It's allowed us to grow as men and as players. For us, man, it's become a generation thing, so hopefully we keep that trend going. Well, now you see my neighborhood. Juice up.